7:34 Central African Time. Good evening. Hello, Sunny Bonani. Welcome to the Baku Street Circuit. One, two. I do hope you can hear me. Just checking to make sure that our systems are operational.
1, 2. I do hope
there we go.
You can hear me.
Welcome to the Baku Street Circuit, everybody. Sir Lancelot is here. Seaflay is here. Man Ray has in the comments, feeling cool, calm, collected, as is definitely Duke, who will be watching with a keen eye. Definitely Duke, one of our Tier 2 racers, doing sensationally well at the start of this new season. And Duke operating with consistency and climbing their way up the BrakeAway Racing League ladder, eventually to find themselves racing in the top tier. Welcome to the BrakeAway Racing League. We will have 3 qualifying sessions. I am led to believe that we should see a fair few more drivers join. As you would have noticed, Smirch Django has already made their presence felt in this race lobby, and we will see how this race will pan out. Tepiso is here looking to claw their way back into form after a heartbreaking DNF in Jeddah in the second race, and what you've just seen is I believe Smirch Django just make their presence felt in this lobby. Team Ferrari is here in full complement. That is Tepiso and Zotile. And as is customary, Tepiso wasting no time will be the first driver out on track to begin their push lap. Tepiso and Zotile, it's a full house for the Ferrari team. Same case for Haas, Mandla and Man Ray. Mixed bag of results for Team Haas. Man Ray started off on a decent note in China, claimed points, finished P9, but sadly did not manage to repeat that feat in Saudi Arabia. Don Radico and Mercurial Caesar have given us some fantastic entertainment. It's a pretty heated battle internally at Mercedes, and of course, that battle also has implications as far as the title fight is also concerned. So let's keep a very, very close eye on that one there. Would love to hear your thoughts on what sort of times we will be expected to see when this qualifying session is over. We saw Mango in Tier 2 dip into the 1 minute 39s. Could we see something along those lines by the time we get to the end of Q3? I would love to hear your thoughts. It's cloudy skies here. I do hope that it stays, at the very least, dry enough for us to see what these Tier 3 drivers have got in as far as their pace is concerned. Bongani, Debo Crocodile, is the second driver out on track alongside Tepiso. Was immediately followed by Mandla as well as Ngawako, aka D-Wax. Duke reckons we'll see times in the 1 minute 39s or low 140s at a stretch. If you agree, I would love to hear your thoughts. We will get the first indication of what Tier 1 has to offer, courtesy of this man, Tepiso, looking to stake their claim on a decent finish here. We will hop on board with the Ferrari driver, who will now take turn 1 as swiftly as they possibly can. Inch-perfect apex through turn 1 there for Tepiso. It's a long circuit, around 6 kilometers, one of the longest on this grid. And, of course, the first sector feels like it takes so long to come at you. Here comes turn 3. That was for Tepiso. The 86er Gallo Letsang has also joined the fray, as Tepiso is on the verge of completing the first sector. 36.642. Tepiso flirts with the wall there at that particular chicane. Now navigating the tricky castle section. So many breaking points which you just need to nail inch perfectly. Thank you, Billy Hendricks, representing in the comments section, reminding all of you to like the stream, comment, and share with some of your friends who, of course, would find a lot of entertainment here in the BrakeAway Racing League. Here comes Tepiso screaming now towards the end of the second sector after he takes this left turn. Flirting with the wall is Tapiso, but he's keeping it clean, keeping it together. And this is, of course, the first representative lap, 1 minute 18.371. One of the first of the representative efforts that we will see. Tapiso being tailed, I believe, by Bongani, a.k.a. Debo Croc, as Billy Hendricks predicts a time in the 1 minute 40s, as does three-time former champion Seakley. Here comes Tapiso to stake their claim on that spot and the progression towards Q2. It's Tapiso with a 1 minute 42.902, the first of our representative efforts here today. Bongani, Debo Croc, are you still pushing? A sector 1 was a bit slower than Tapiso's, 37.0, I believe, that push lap, that sector 1 was, compared to Tapiso's, who had nailed a time in the 36 seconds at the end of that first sector. Here comes Debo Croc, now sending it towards the tail end of this second sector. Debo Crocodile representing Aston Martin. Teammates is, of course, Nebo, who's back in the top tier. 19.4 is Bongani's sector 2 split. 1 minute 19.4. To be absolutely clear. Tapiso's probably making their way back into the pits at this particular point. Debo Crocodile giving it an almighty push at this particular point with 13 minutes of this first qualifying session to go. It's not too much pressure considering we don't have more than 16 drivers as Debo Croc crosses the line in the 1 minute 44 seconds for that initial push. There is an Alpha Tauri on the verge of crossing the line. It is Ngawako, aka D-Wax. Dooley goes into P3, 1 minute 44.693. Ngawako, aka D-Wax, did not start the race in China, but managed to do fairly well in Saudi Arabia. We'll look to, of course, do as best they can and finish the points this time out. It is getting more and more difficult, as Mandla would know. Mandla has been used to collecting the points routinely in seasons past, but it has not been smooth sailing for Mandla up until this point. What about the likes of Django and Rabico? Well, Don Rabico, the defending champion with that yellow helmet reminiscent of Lewis Hamilton, is now hurtling towards the end of Sector 2. Here he comes now. We'll see what kind of time he will do. He's absolutely on the limits, making contact with the wall. 1 minute 17.475 is that Sector 2 split. Looking to give Tapiso a lot to think about. I do wonder how much pace in hand Don Rabico is still keeping within their limits of their performance. Lifted off the throttle there quite heavily. So I do wonder if that is Don Rabico just hiding the kind of pace that he has in hand. There was no need to lift there, but he did. Crosses the line, still quickest. 1 minute 42.197 at the end of that particular push lap. Now, Zotal is the other Ferrari driver on the verge of beginning their push lap in earnest. So we'll hop over to Teppo Temba instead, beginning to approach hurtling towards the beginning of Sector 3. 119.031 is that split at the end of the second sector. Teppo Temba representing Williams. He had a nightmare start to the season last time out. Almost got that line wrong. Had to lift off the throttle there through the slaloming section at the beginning of that third sector. But he's now got it together. It's going to be a slower lap comparatively. Only a 1 minute 43.734. That'll be P3 as things currently stand for Teppo Temba. And it looks like Smirch Django has ended their push lap with a 42.402. So the time slowly but surely trickling in. Let's go back to see how Zotal is faring now. Abandoned that initial push lap, is now giving it another go. He has mentioned publicly that he's not necessarily very comfortable on this circuit. So we'll see how he will do here. Now towards the end of Sector 2, it's a 1 minute 18.817 for Zotal, who's currently P8 as things currently stand. Now there's not much pressure considering we only have 15 drivers running, so all they need to do is just set a representative lap and bring it home. Zotail will not be panicking too much, not be stressing out about times that he has put in. Crosses the line, 43.316 is good enough to tuck right behind his teammates. It's a Ferrari 3-4 as things currently stand, with just over 9 minutes of this session to go. Ban Kobe is out on track. Here he comes now to cross the line. It's a Ferrari 3-4 and a Williams 5-6. 43.689 means Ban Kobe slots right in front of his teammate there. And those two have just been split by Bongani, aka Debo Croc, who's 43.658 on 3-lap Old Soft is good enough for P5. So finding improvement is Debo Crocodile with each and every passing lap. How far along is Tato and Sige Fig? Looks like Sige Figure of Speech is going to be next across the line, representing Red Bull, partner to the 86er Gala Letsang. 43.986 is good enough for P8 as things currently stand. Tato, aka Loveness, and Mercurial Caesar are going to be next up. It's the Flying Mercedes, which has just whizzed past a slow-moving car. Here comes Mercurial Caesar, now towards the line, looking to, of course, challenge the would-be champions in Tier 1. It's a 41.766, leaving nothing to chance, leaving no pace. At hand, perhaps? Was that a full tilt, a full push by Mercurial Caesar? 31.766, a very, very good effort. We will still see. Oh, that was a fast-moving car there behind Mercurial Caesar. That was perhaps going off track. So next up, the next driver that we will watch. Oh, it was Man Ray. I thought I saw a car flying completely off the track behind Man Ray, and rather behind Mercurial Caesar. It was Man Ray. And thankfully, that car is still intact. He would have hated to completely crash out. It's a lost wing for Man Ray. Hopefully he can get that fixed in time to go around another time and set that banker lap to make it a smooth progression to Q2. Man Ray's teammate Mandla currently 10th with that 43.992. So he knows what he needs to do, does Man Ray. Just bring it home all in one piece. Donathan Laka. What a sensational result it was for him back in China, finishing on the podium in that P3 spot. What can he do here today? Currently making his way through the first of these three sectors. 6.5 minutes of this session to go. If you've just joined us, welcome to the top tier BrakeAway Racing League, as we just saw Donathan Laka navigate that corner so close to the barriers. It is an unforgiving circuit, as we've seen in Tier 3 and Tier 2. These walls they call your name, and if you're not careful, you will send it straight into the wall to completely see your car absolutely totaled. Mercurial Caesar, comfortable enough to retire that Mercedes W14 in the pits. He's happy enough with that time. Comfortably will be progressing through to the second of 3 qualifying sessions. We're now watching Donathan Laka make his way through the second sector. Comparatively not moving as quick as some of our top runners. Will only complete sector 2 with a 1:22, I believe that was. So Donathan Laka not quite on the pace here today, but perhaps is just happy to see that car come all the way home. Sees no need to take unnecessary risks. Now, Mango, freshly squeezed the fastest laps, is in the comment section, predicting a time in the 1:39. 1:39.8 is Mango's prediction. Donathan Laka, meanwhile, crosses the line, 47.308. It was, of course, not a representative lap by his lofty standards. Mango says that Don and Mercurial Caesar are pretty quick around these parts. Expecting big things from the two Mercedes drivers who have given us a sensational entertainment from the start of this season. Very scrappy between the top two as we now watch Donathan Laka. And Man Ray has broken another wing. Man Ray, what is going on? He's still out on track. That wing is gone. And perhaps he was just happy to keep it going and cross the line for that 2 minutes 18. And he will now send it back into the pits, knowing that, with 15 drivers going through to Q2, he needs not panic, and he would be going straight through. Cepiso, meanwhile, is the fourth quickest driver. 1 minute 42.902, the best that he could do. Looks like on his second push lap attempt, he had abandoned that lap. So it's Mercurial Caesar from Don Ravico, quickest as things currently stand. Smirch Django currently third quickest. Cepiso and Zotal, fourth and fifth. Debo Crocodile, sixth from Ban Kobe and Seppo Temba, the Williams pairing, making up those seventh and eighth spots. Sig Figure of Speech is currently P9 from Mandla in P10. Tato, a.k.a. Loveness, is 11th from Ingawako D-Wax in 12th. Donathan Laka, 13th from Man Ray. And the 86er rounds off the standings as things currently stand. We're on board now with the Red Bull driver, looking to make it a clean navigation through the Baku Street Circuit. And not get too caught up in any unnecessary drama. Threads it through the tight and twisty section of the castle section. And we'll get a sense of just how quick the 86er is as that front right wheel almost makes a little bit of contact there with the wall, but 86er is glad to still keep it running. It's a fairly decent effort, 18.872 come the end of Sector 2. Might give Bongani Debo Crocodile something to think about when all is said and done here. Slowly but surely, the top drivers happy to retire their cars in the pits, knowing that they're through to the next quali session. If you're brand new to Formula One, the aim of the game in qualifying is simple. Cross the line as fast as you can around the circuit, and the slowest drivers get eliminated. There goes the 86er. As predicted, it tucks just ahead of Bongani Debo Crocodile on those brand new softs. Joined the lobby late, did the 86er. Oh no, who's that? It's Man Ray in the background. Massive crash. Man Ray's been running pretty much without a wing and absolutely totaled that Haas in the background there, as we saw the 86er on their in-lap make their way back towards the pits. So Man Ray not feeling comfortable at all. I believe it was Billy Hendricks who was saying earlier on in the comments that this is not the type of track where you would want to come in without a lot of practice. Crazy stuff. Catching up with some of your comments. C-Clay says, I'm here for the fight between the Mercedes, that being Mercurial Caesar and Don Rabico. C-Clay is, very familiar with a fight at the top of the standings, particularly between Mercedes drivers, who can forget that sensationally entertaining battle between C-Clay and the former champion, Smirch Django. Debo Crocodile has been dipping in and out of this lobby, but will be back in time to take their place in Q2. So, as it currently stands, the quickest drivers in this session, it's Mercurial from Don Ravico in the top two, Smirch Django third quickest from Cepiso, and Zotal in fifth. This man, the 86er Gallo Tsang, sixth quickest from Debo Crocodile in seventh, and Ban Kobe and Seppo Temba make up the eighth and ninth spots as things currently stand. Sig Figure of Speech in P10 from Mandla in 11th. Tato, a.k.a. Loveness, is 12th from Ingawako, a.k.a. D-Wax. P13 for him. Donathan Laka for Alfa Romeo is 14th, and Man Ray rounds off our competitors in that final spot going through to Q2. Definitely Duke in the comments section says, practice, everybody, practice! You cannot afford to roll the dice in the top tier of the BrakeAway Racing League. Looking forward to an entertaining second quali session. Of course, we will be seeing 5 drivers get knocked out in Q2, and then we go straight on to the shootout for pole position. This is a very good look into the Red Bull garage as the 86er takes her place and gets ready and set for the second quali session. Mex will be, I believe, one of the last drivers to join this race. We'll start from the back of the pack. There it is, folks. Mercurial Caesar, the pride of India, 1 minute 41.766. And Don Rabico, 4 tenths behind him. Jango, a further 6/10 behind, and Cepiso represents the rest of the pack at 1.1 seconds and further. 3 sets of tires for Smirch Jango. That is surprising. Or perhaps he was just changing the tire sets in the pits. I didn't see him go out for so many push lap attempts. And Gawako opted for a medium to soft push. And it looks like it was the inverse for Man Ray, who started on the soft and eventually put on a set of mediums. Q2 coming up next. Welcome to Q2, folks. Welcome to the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. It's Thursday night action. We begin, of course, usually at... what is going on? Ingawako D-Wax retiring from this session. Man Ray barely believing that he is out of the session, having crashed out in dramatic fashion at the end of Q2. So we have 14 participants. Minus Man Ray, who is incredulous in the comments section as things currently stand. It looks like D-Wax crashed on the pit exit. Will be absolutely kicking himself, Ingawako, aka D-Wax. It is so hard, let alone to get through to Q3 in Tier 1, but to find yourself in the running for a decent points finish. Kaboza also noting that Ingawako, aka D-Wax, crashed out here in quick succession. It looks like Mandla is tailing Cepiso. Those two will be the first to set a representative lap. Ban Kobe wasting no time in Q2. He's also out early, as is Tato, aka Loveness. Tempo Temba is also making it a pretty quick succession of Williams drivers straight out onto this track. Well, we commiserate with Man Ray, who is out of qualifying. But still, it's Q2. Still, somebody is getting knocked out here in this second qualifying session. Debo Crocodile having issues with the lobby, keeps on dipping in and out of this session. We will now pay close attention to Mandla's attempt. Their initial push lap, of course, ahead of Mandla, is the screaming scarlet red Ferrari of Cepiso. On board we go with the Haas driver navigating the initial sector here in Azerbaijan. The Baku Street Circuit will be navigated first by the Ferrari of Cepiso, followed by the Ferrari-powered Haas of Mandla. Turns 1 and 2 without incident for the Haas driver. Make sure you have all of the information that you would need so that we get a sense of the time as Mandla flirts with the wall there. I believe that was turn 4. Similarly, goes slightly deep there through the right-hander, but he's still keeping it together as he looks to complete Sector 1 with a 36.725. Hoping to put Cepiso under all the pressure. We've already lost one driver on the pit exit. That was Ingawako. What can these two do? Is Mandla inching closer and closer? Not quite, as they now come towards the run-up area on the package with the second sector, the castle section. Cepiso's gone, out of sight. But not out of mind as far as Mandla is concerned. Will just be minding his own business, minding his own push lap. Here he comes now to complete the second sector in a time of 1 minute 19.607. So what can Cepiso do ahead? Of course, that will be the time that we will see being set initially by the Ferrari driver who is down the road. There goes Tapiso to cross the line first with a 44.170. Not near as competitive as he wants to be. Mandla also in the 1 minute 44s. How about Ben Colby? Next up to cross the line. His teammate Seppo Temba is also on the verge of completing their lap. Ben Colby going quicker? The answer is yes. Although also in the 44s, 44.095. Seppo Temba is going to be next across the line for Team Williams. Oh no, Seppo Temba abandoned their push lap, and they are not back in it. Zotal goes quickest, 43.009, and it looks like Loveness crossed the line second quickest as things currently stand. Loveness representing Alpha Tauri this season, flanked by none other than Inkawako, aka D-Wax, 43.677, good enough for P2 as things currently stand. Let's hop on board now with the would-be challenger to the throne in the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. We're on board with the Sector 3 occupying Mercurial Caesar, who was quickest in Q1. Will look to go similarly as quick, if not even quicker, in Q2. Crosses the line, 42.339. Is this Mercurial at his absolute top pace? I cannot wait to see as this quali session ramps up towards its inevitable conclusion. This is Don Ravico, your champion of the top tier in BrakeAway Racing League, looking to complete that first sector. Ooh, even quicker than last. Ooh, 35.9, I believe is quicker than his sector 1 of Q1. Had a little bit of moments on the exit of that chicane, but managed to catch it. So that'll definitely cost him a precious few tenths. Threads the needle through the castle section. He's happy to flirt with the limits of this track, as there are yellow flags on another part of the track, but it looks like it's just slow-moving drivers. We have not lost anyone else on top of D-Wax, who crashed out early on at the start of Q2. Here comes Don Ravico, the champion. Ooh, looking to put a champion's drive, as that steering wheel has a little bit of a squiggle. 116.183 is very quick at the end of Sector 2. Oh, but he invalidates his lap, does Don Ravico. Close, but no cigar. Absolutely squirrely was Don Ravico through Sectors 2 at the beginning of 3. Messed it up, flirted too much with track limits, and invalidated that attempt. Here comes the 86er. His teammate, Sage Figure of Speech, is currently making their way through the second sector. Debo Crocodile struggling to maintain connection. The 86er will go third quickest behind Zotal and Mercurial Caesar. We'll now hop on to the 86er's teammate, Sage Figure of Speech, and with about 1 minute 30 seconds gone, is now looking to point that RP19 straight down towards the line. Pedal to the metal. Flat out towards the line goes Sig Fig to cross the line with a 43.515 to make it a Red Bull 3-4 with just over 7 minutes, just over 7.5 minutes of this session to go. In the other Williams, it is Seppo Temba, who had initially abandoned his attempt. He's now back in the cockpit and pushing. Sector 2. Was a little bit deep there for the Williams driver. Let's see how he navigates the rest of this treacherous circuit. The right-hander, that being turn 4, was clean for Seppo Temba. This is the chicane, that being turns 5 and 6. Seppo Temba flirting with the track limits, went quite rough over the curb there, cost him a precious tenth or two, slightly deeper than he would have wanted to go through that particular turn. But the car is still moving, the lap is still valid, that is all he cares about right now. We'll hope to make it through to Q3 without too much drama. Once again, flirts with the same wall that Don Radico did earlier on. And 1 minute 18.844 is Seppo Temba's Sector 2 split. Meanwhile, further back, Django is also on his push lap. So we'll see what the McLaren driver has in store. pace-wise. Don Radical still needs to set a valid lap before this session is said and done. Don Radical, the champion, is on outlap. Tempo goes fourth quickest, 43.218, is something that he'll be very, very happy with. Now, Smirch Django is making the way down towards the line, absolutely flat out, crosses the line with the quickest time of this session, 1 minute 41.944. So that is the gauntlet laid down to the likes of Mercurial, Caesar, and everybody else. Tapiso and Donovan Laka, the two drivers that are currently making their way through this track. Donovan Laka is further back, so we'll hop on instead to Tapiso. Kaboza asking, where is Tabo T92? We would definitely hoped to see him, but sadly, no trace of the pacey Tabo T92. Tabo is actually Django's teammate, nowhere to be seen, as Django is happy to retire that car. Dan Colby is out of this session, but the question is, where? It might have been in Sector 3. It might have been the stretch of track that this man is approaching right now. Ban Colby, that might have been a stone cold DNF there instead of a voluntary requirement. Here comes Tapiso now through the final parts of this track. Ban Colby, as things currently stand, Donthon Laka and Debo Crocodile and Don Radical just needs to set a time, and that is pretty much Ban Colby's qualifying done. Tapiso goes third quickest in this session, and Donovan Laka will be next in line to come across. As you can see on the track map, behind Donovan Laka is Don Radical. I want to hear from you what time will be enough to guarantee progression to Q3. Is Loveness's 43.6 going to be enough? Let me know. Donovan Laka, not quick enough. 45.6 is only good enough for P11. Don Radical goes even quicker than Django. 41.263 is the time to beat so far today. Don Radical comfortably through to Q3 as things currently stand. Ban Colby, despite crashing out, is still hanging on for dear life to that spot in Q3. Or can he, if he's crashed out? I think perhaps similar to Manray, I beg your pardon, Ban Colby, that may be it for him. Well, he's still got the 10th quickest time, so it's a glimmer of hope for the likes of Mandla and this man, Donovan Laka, who is now making the way back into the pits. Zotal is out, is giving it another push lap here. Nope, he's abandoned that push lap attempt. Clay reckons that Django is definitely sandbagging. We have not seen Django's true pace, according to Clay in the comment section. Will we see Loveness's true pace? Now, once again, some of the top runners are happy to retire at this particular point. We're on board now with the P9 running Loveness, who's going to look to leapfrog the likes of Siege Figure of Speech, Tepo Temba, the 86er Tapiso, Debo Crocodile struggling with connection, dipping in and out of this lobby. Sadly, yet to say a representative time as, Tapiso retires and Mercurial Caesar, or rather Loveness, sends it straight into the wall in the castle section. The Alpha Tauri driver is out, causing a traffic jam. Well, the pressure ratchets up, and Mandla is now content to make his way towards the end of his own push lap here. Oh, heavy lift of the throttle there. Mandla almost getting, too comfortable and too chummy with the walls there. Perhaps you'll be content to send it back into the pits. Mandla not going to push anymore, perhaps unnecessarily so, he would see from his perspective. So the drivers, your 10 quickest drivers as things stand with less than a minute of this session to go are Don Ravico, Smirch Django in your top 2 position, Zotal, third quickest from Mercurial Caesar in fourth, Tepiso makes it a Ferrari double team going through to Q3 as things stand, fifth quickest from the 86er, Seppo Temba currently seventh from Sige Figure of Speech, who makes it a full house as far as Red Bull is concerned. Loveness, P9 from Ban Kobe, who went 10th quickest. Mandla is in the pits. We'll not be seeing any more of him. He seemingly will be getting knocked out as things currently stand. Donovan Laka huffed and puffed and pushed, but that effort was not good enough. Sige Figure of Speech is the only driver out on track, and what would you know, he has found about half a second of pace compared to his previous best lap. Now, his Sector 2 split this time, he's down, I beg your pardon, he's down 3/10 from his previous best time. So not looking very good, but thankfully for Sige Fig, who completely lifts off the throttle, he is well and truly through because none of Mandela, Donovan Laka, Inkawako D-Wax, and Debo Crocodile can threaten that P8 spot. So it's a happy day for Red Bull fans, happy day for Sige Figure of Speech fans in the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. Right, folks, we want to hear from you. Who is taking pole position? Q3 is coming up next. If you feel that it is going to be anyone other than some of the drivers that we've mentioned in that poll, let us know in the comments section. I would love to hear your thoughts. Wandal Shezi says the castle section claims another victim. It is unrelenting, uncompromising, unforgiving is that stretch of track. So many drivers having crashed out at this particular point. Mfundo, who had a decent day in Tier 3 yesterday, coming home with the podium places, notching up those points. Mfundo, of course, no stranger to the top tier, was part of the furniture in Tier 1 and is just fighting his way, clawing his way back up the BrakeAway Racing League ladder. He says ABF is so difficult on this track. It is not to be taken lightly. We've got a poll running up, folks. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to like the stream if you have not done so already. Thank you for choosing the top tier of the BrakeAway Racing League. Welcome to Baku. Welcome to Azerbaijan. I believe Tindo is also in the lobby, so we'll be starting this race from further back in this pack. It's still clear skies. I do hope we get similar conditions throughout the entirety of Q3 and for the whole race itself. Well, sadly, for some of the drivers who crashed out, they will take no further part in this session. Tepiso, Zotal, Don Ravico, Mercurial Caesar, the 86er, Sige Figure of Speech, Seppo Temba are your contenders alongside Smirch Django, fighting for that pole position. So the crucial mistakes in qualifying, costing drivers crucial positions, crucial spots in Q3. I would love to hear your thoughts as things currently stand. For those of you who have, for the 8 of you who have voted, 75% of you reckon Don Rabico is taking this pole position. 12% of you reckon it's going to be Django, and a further 12% reckon it is going to be Mercurial Caesar. Well, we've got 12 minutes. 12 minutes in this session to determine who will be taking their place at the front of the grid. Mercurial Caesar wasting no time in this 8-driver pack. He's going to come straight out and show exactly what sort of pace he has got. The pride of India, the super competitive Mercurial Caesar, who has claimed scalps and victims and a whole slew of drivers in a very long racing career. currently also racing in the top tier of the Indian Racing League, whose races you should check out. I'm not sure if Mercurial Caesar is currently based in India, but if that is the case, well, it's quite a commitment because local time on that side of the world is 11:44. It's almost midnight. So his race will begin pretty much on Friday. Will Mercurial Caesar. All things go well, and there's no issues with network and the like. Please remember to like and subscribe, as Kaboza says he is actually based in the United Arab Emirates. That's where Mercurial Caesar is based. And, well, he's about 2 hours ahead of us. It's 10:15, if that is indeed the case. On board with the Mercedes driver. And let's see what kind of lines he does, what that lap looks like. Now sending it screaming towards turn 3. We've seen Don Ravico set a time with a in the 35 seconds at the end of sector 1. Oh, Mercurial Caesar, happy, comfortable to be absolutely on the limits. It's a 35.698. So as things currently stand, it's going to be fairly similar to the kind of time that Don Ravico put in, heavy on the curve, as he now navigates his way through the castle section, threading the needle, gear 3. Through the some of the slowest corners of the track. Temba is out. We've lost Temba. It looks like he may have lost the car on pit exit. Oh, it's a terrible scenario for the Williams driver. 1 minute 16.185 is decent, but perhaps might not be as quick as the likes of Don Ravico put in that initial part of Q2, but he's absolutely leaving nothing to chance as he flirts with the walls. Does Mercurial Caesar will now send it screaming towards the line, and behind him, of course, I believe is going to be Zotal. Here it comes. The initial push lap of Q3 is a 1 minute 40.587. It's a sensational effort from Mercurial Caesar. It is going to be followed by Tapiso shortly. What kind of a time will he put in? It's not going to be close. It's going to be 43.183. There's a second Ferrari on the verge. Were they giving each other a sweet toe? That could have been the case. 42.175 means Zotal goes to P2 as things currently stand. It doesn't look like Django is on his push lap as yet, so we will instead hop over to Don Ravico. Sig Fig sets a time, 42.8. Oh, Don Ravico absolutely flirting with those walls through the squirrely part of the second sector. He is now absolutely sending it. There's a yellow flag, slow-moving car in going through their turns 1 and 2. Looks like Smirch Jangle may be on another build lap. Once again, Don Ravico flirting with the wall. Here comes the corner where he invalidated his lap last time out. This time, it is as smooth as you would like. He looks like he might have gone purple there through the second sector, leaving absolutely nothing to chance. 140.587 is the benchmark. Mercurial Caesar was also sandbagging earlier on, as some of you might have suggested. What can Don Ravico do? Is this going to be a champion's drive? Will this be the pole position lap that will be uncontested? It's going to be sensational. It's a 40.096, and Don Ravico pips his teammate to go quickest with 6.5 minutes of this session to go. Sensational stuff. What about Django? Well, Sector 1 split was in the 35 seconds, so potentially we're looking at another time to give the top 2 Mercedes drivers a lot to think about. Most of you predicted that Django, or rather Don Ravico, yeah, heavy moment there for Smirch Django, who seemingly has lifted off the throttle and pulled out. Or has he? Nope. It looks like another... Yeah, it looks like a network issue. He just keeps jumping and glitching. I just want to make sure that this is still a push lap. Because we can't tell, but it... No. 1 minute. That does not look right at all. So we're going to have to catch up with Django a little bit later to see how he fares. Sadly, Tepo Temba is out of this qualifying session. Okay, so he did cross the line, but it was a 41.149. Network issues there, causing us to see all sorts of strange things with Django's car and network. But the quickest driver by by a margin of almost 5/10 is Mercurial Caesar. 140.096. Well. Some of you did anticipate that we would see a time in the high 139s. And a lot of you also predicted these 2 times that we've currently seen in the 1-minute 40s as things currently stand. Cannot wait to see how we fare between now and the end of Q3. We've got a poll running. If you look in the comments section, trying to get your thoughts on who is taking pole position. As things currently stand, 79% are predicting it's going to be Don Rabico. 7% say it's going to be Django, while 14% of you reckon Mercurial Caesar is taking this. Zotal was also on the poll because he was among the top 4 drivers in Q2. None of you have yet to select Zotal as your predicted pole position sitter. 3.5 minutes of this session to go. Submerged Django, whose network is showing us a lot of glitchy type stuff. Now making the way, presumably, back into the pits, perhaps to strap on a fresh set of tires? No. Looks like he's carrying on. Sage Figure of Speech is out for what will be their final push lap. It's a similar case for Zotal, who's just come out of the pits, and Tipiso, who's way ahead of Sage Figure of Speech as things currently stand. The Ferrari duo looking to stake their claim towards the front of this 8-driver pack competing for pole position. Remember to like the stream, folks, if you have not done so already. Django has left the session, perhaps is going to come back into the lobby, as Tepiso will be the first of the remaining drivers to set their final push lap. Turns 1 and 2 without drama for Tepiso. Was a late upshift there on the run towards turn 3. No, but an early lift there. I do wonder if Tepiso is just... yeah, it doesn't look like he's still pushing. Yeah, we can safely say that Tepiso is not giving it a proper push as things currently stand. So instead, we'll hop over to Sige Figure of Speech, who will be ostensibly the first driver to set the final push lap. Turn 1 was clean. And is now looking to improve on that previous best time that he had, 142.891, the best that he could do up until this point. Sige Fig has looked comfortable among the Tier 1 drivers thus far. Came home P8 in China, and he's improved by almost about 0.4 of a second come the end of Sector 1. Navigated the chicane there, and now making his way towards the castle section. Oh, heavy on the curve there through that right-hander. That being turn 7. This is 8, 9, and 10. Slaloms through the tightest portion of this circuit. There's a slow-moving, I believe, Mercedes ahead of him, bringing out the yellow flag. So it looks like the Mercedes drivers are going to be tailing each other on their outlaps before all is said and done here. Won't that be an entertaining battle to watch between Don Rabico and Mercurial Caesar? It's half a second gained for Stage Figure of Speech come the end of Sector 2. Looking good, looking comfortable, looking to leapfrog Zotal ahead of him as things currently stand. We will finish Stage Figure of Speech and their lap before we hop on over to the two drivers scrapping it out. Sig Fig improves and goes up to P5 as things currently stand. That is it. If they have not started their final push lap, they will not get a chance to do so. Django left the lobby, perhaps network issues, but hopefully he'll be back in time to actually begin this race. Now ahead of Mercurial Caesar is the driver that is currently ahead. He finds a 10th worth of improvement. He's being tailed, of course, being hounded, being followed by Don Ravico behind him. He needs a lot more than a 10th. Remember, that gap is almost half a second between Don and Mercurial Caesar, who comes also close to the wall there through the slaloming part of Sector 2, the treacherous castle section. By the skin of his teeth, Mercurial Caesar is keeping it on track here, absolutely sending it, hoping not to lose any modicum of momentum as he now sends it hurtling towards the end of Sector 2. Slight twitch of the steering wheel, and he completes Sector 2, a 10th down on his previous best time. So try as he might, it's going to take a miracle for him to come anywhere near Don Ravico's time, who, despite being the quickest driver, has already found almost 0.3 of a second compared to the rest of these drivers who will look to be catching up to him. Mercurial Caesar is going to be first across the line. As you can see on the track map, Mercurial Caesar tries as he might, goes marginally quicker, but is not quick enough. 140.524 is not good enough for pole position, and Don Ravico crosses the line to consolidate with a 1:39.588, and it is absolutely sensational stuff by the championship champion Don Ravico, who puts almost a full second ahead of the next competitor. Sig Figure of Speech is making the way back into the pit lane, and man oh man, Don Ravico is going to start in pole position alongside Mercurial Caesar. Django will start in third, Zotal fourth, the 86er P5, Sig Figure of Speech P6, and Cepiso in P7. Tepo Temba, who could not stake their claim in these times, will start in P8, and that was absolutely sensational from Don Ravico. And that is that, folks. As most of you predicted, Don Ravico, repaying your faith, 68% of you said he would take pole position. Mercurial Caesar was 25% of votes. Django was 6% of those votes. Billy Hendricks says, vengeance is upon us. Don Ravico looking to take vengeance on his teammate. It's been a beautiful battle between Mercurial Caesar and Don Ravico as far as qualifying is concerned. What will they serve up in the race? Look at that gap. 9.3 of a second between the top two drivers. Smirch Django, who's been having network issues, is a second and a half behind the leading pair. Zotal, P4 from the 86er and P5. Great qualifying for Team Red Bull in 5 and 6. Cepiso will start in P7. A good day for him. Tepo Temba in P8. Man, oh man, oh man. C-Clay says, Don faked being bad at Baku. Don Ravico says, vengeance in the comments section. Oh man, absolutely enjoying the entertainment that all these drivers are serving up. Remember to like the stream, folks. Like the stream if you have not done so already. If you've just joined us, welcome to the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. Liddy is in the comments. He says, can Cifla and Mango just go to tier 1 to give this guy a challenge? This guy being Don Ravico, of course. Mango and Don Ravico are... well, they're no strangers to each other. They've battled in other leagues. Don Ravico recently conquered Mango in another racing league. I believe that was the SAF1 Racing League. Man Ray asks, Liddy, what are you trying to say about the rest of us? What is going on here, asks Man Ray. Clear skies in Baku on the shores of the Caspian Sea. Welcome to the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. Welcome to this unforgiving circuit. We saw a whole slew of safety cars in tiers 2 and 3. What will be the case this time around? Of course, those initial laps when drivers are scrapping it out and the tension, the adrenaline is high. anything can happen. We hope, of course, that it is, not a scrappy race, and we don't see too much in the way of drama. We're hoping for a sensational day out here. Salindo says it's Rabico and Caesar's race. The rest of them, well, back half aisle.
Salindo, the rest of them by a backup. What about this team as you want, Salindo? What about this team as a home?
Liddy says, nah, man, Ray, you know in racing, you don't race the entire grid. You gotta know your own battles. Smirch Django in the top 3. Welcome, folks. It's the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We are racing in Baku. It is a run down to turn 1 for the 2 Mercedes drivers who hold on position. Django looks gone going on the outside, but he hands on to P3 by the skin of his neck. Sepultemba is crashed out in turn 1. He is out at the beginning of this race. It is pandemonium at the back of the pack. Man Ray Mex is also there, and it's a safety car to start us off. It's pandemonium. Teppo Temba got hit, made contact with someone. We saw him in the background there, and he is out in turn number 1 in this unforgiving circuit. The top 2 Mercedes drivers hang on to those spots that they started in. Smirch Django is still in that P3 spot. The 86er has pipped Zotal at the start of this race. Teppo Temba will be absolutely seething. And, that heart is absolutely broken. Teppo Temba, who's had a decent start to this recent season, was in such good nick. As Sikwe says, these guys were laughing at Tier 2. Well, the wheel turns, and Teppo Temba sadly is out of the reckoning. Early movers, into turn 1. Before that huge crash, the 86er gaining a position, as did Tapiso, now tucked behind his teammate. Sage Fig lost that position to Tapiso. Loveness gained a position. Mandla moved up 2 positions now to the point. And Gobako, a.k.a. D-Wax, one of the biggest movers, gaining 3 places. Tindo, all the way from the back of the pack, one of the biggest gainers, now up 6 positions. Man, oh man, oh man. Man Ray moved up 1 position in that early carnage, and Debo Crocodile lost a position. Mex started P16, still P16. Would be looking to avoid all of that carnage at this particular point. Those are your position changes, folks. Let's take a look at the early tire strategies. Most of the drivers opting to start on a set of medium compound tires. No need to pit so early on in the game, as you can see most of the top runners opting to send it straight down towards turn 1. Beautiful overhead shot we get there of the run towards turn 1. Don Rabico from Mercurial Caesar. That is going to be the battle to watch over here, folks. Now the drivers that are coming into the pits, perhaps the ones that were involved in that early carnage. It's Ban Colby, Donovan Laka, Man Ray, Mex, and Mex. Those are your drivers. Debo Crocodile now up to P5. Yep, Ban Colby changing the wing on that car number 3 and goes onto a set of fresh medium compound tires, as does Don Van Laka, and Man Ray, who fits a brand new wing and will rejoin the pack all the way from the very back. So his teammate Mandla is the beneficiary of that early carnage, P9, as things currently stand. Billy Hendricks and some of you already predicted more DNFs, more crashes, which would be sad to see. I believe reckons we're going to see 2 or 3 more DNFs, and they're still going to be shocked by that tire deg as well. On top of the different tire strategy, Debo Crocodile got 5-second penalty, presumably perhaps for possible involvement in that early carnage in that run towards turn number 1. The Prince of South Africa has predicted a win for Zotal. Well, it's going to take a lot for the Ferrari driver. He's got the pedigree, he's got the class to be able to do something special here today. He's already finished on the podium as Zotal is looking very, very good in Jeddah. Coming home in those podium places. He has said, of course, that it's not his favorite track. As Azuri says, September has gone straight to the stewards and lodged an early complaint as we now come across to end this second lap of a total 26 under the safety car. Another beautiful overhead shot we get there of that run towards turn number 1, where Tsepo Temba sadly lost it. This, I believe we can assume, will be the last of the laps under the safety car. After these drivers have come into the pits, it is the champion, Don Radico, leading this race from their teammate, Mercurial Caesar, currently running in P2. Smirch Jangle is in that third spot. The 86er, Galila Tsang, representing Red Bull in P4. Zotal is in 5th place, tailed by their teammate, Tepiso. So both the Red Bulls and Ferraris running in close proximity to one another. Sigefig, P7. Loveness, the highest placed Alpha Tauri driver, running in P8. Mandla, aka Romeo, P9. Ingawako, D-Wax in 10th spot from Tindo in 11th. Decent gains for Tindo, considering he started at the back of the pack. Debo Crocodile, 12th with that 5-second time penalty. Ban Kobe has a brand spanking set of medium compound tires in that 13th spot from Donathan Laka in 14th. Man Ray is in 15th, and Max Motel, whose pace is undeniable, currently in that P16 spot. Had we not started under safety car, we would have been seeing DRS having been activated for this lap. Let's hold thumbs that we do get 3 clean laps, uninterrupted laps, so that we can start to see the DRS battles all over this track. Kaposa asking the Prince of South Africa how much Zotal is going to pay him for all that propaganda predicting a Zotal win. Safety car is in at the end of this lap, so says race control. The Nucho, aka P, says, the Prince of South Africa is under duress to say that. He's got a gun to his head, says the Nucho. Sir Lancelot says Tsepo Temba wasted no time. The Prince of South Africa, alleging that Zotal has promised him setups if he could be one of his biggest cheerleaders in this race. Now, proceedings will be restarted by this man, Don Radical. As you can see, Django behind him threatening to overtake, and Django may just have stolen the march on Mercurial Caesar. They're side by side in the run towards turn 1, but try as he might, Mercurial Caesar says, no, you shall not. Mercurial defends the inside line and then goes back onto the racing line as the Ferraris almost make contact behind him. Smirch Django biding his time, hunting down the leading pair of Mercedes drivers. Now, all of the top drivers that you can see here are on the same compound of tire. There's some scraps. Tindo has made contact. Tindo has tumbled down the order towards the back of the pack. He's now going to be fighting with the likes of Mex at the back of these standings. Tindo had done so well to fight his way up to the likes of P11. Will now have to fight all the way back from the back of the pack. Look at the 86er attacking Django. Not going to make things comfortable for the McLaren driver. Tabo T92, where are you? You guys should be fighting as a team here, trying to keep the likes of the 86er, Zotal, Mercurial, Don Radico at bay. But it is a lone effort here by the McLaren driver. Thankfully, we've navigated lap 4 without another quick safety car. So we're hoping here for the rest of the race with is not going to be riddled with too many incidents. We're on board with Django, who is hunting down the leading pair of Mercedes drivers. And he was almost out of DRS at that particular point. But those two Mercedes drivers make sure that he keeps on flirting with that 1 second buffer mark. Django now begins the start of that third sector. Oh, Zotal, what happened to him? Tumbling down the order. Oh no, it's huge contact between Zotal and it looks like Sid's figure of speech in lap 4 of 26. They've both lost wings. They've both lost momentum. They're both hurtling towards the back of the pack. Thankfully, no safety cars, but that is pretty much an unplanned pit stops for the pair of them. Sid's figure of speech now towards the back of the pack. We're going to get back towards the front now as the leading pair of Mercedes are still fighting it out. It is Django trying to catch up to this man, Mercurial Caesar. That gap building, 1.3 seconds now, as we are likely to see a titanic tussle between the teammates here. I wonder if they will work as a team. A lot of tension over here. If they were working as a team, they would be very happy with the situation, giving each other DRS, but making sure that the gap to P3 keeps on building and building. In the midfield, it's Loveness hunting down Mandla. And behind Loveness is, of course, Nkawako, a.k.a. D-Wax. Medium versus hards here in the midfield in this battle between Loveness and Mandla. We'll hop on board with Tato, a.k.a. Loveness. And see whether or not he's managing to gain. Ooh, Mandla went a little bit deep there through that right-hander, and Loveness will look to take all the advantage, thread the needle, and trim that gap. It was hovering in the... oh no, D-Wax has retired behind Loveness, the second DNF of the day. Nkawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, is out, bringing out this second safety car of the day. Man, oh man, oh man. High drama and in the Baku Street Circuit as Nkawako becomes the second driver to crash out. We're fighting it out in the midfield and they're out. Predictions are predicting, says Billy Hendricks in the comment section. Man Ray sadly has lost connection. Man Ray is out of this race. What is going on? Why the two Mercedes drivers swapping positions? Oh, Mercurial, you can't overtake under safety car, you know. Makes way, and they now swap positions. What is going on? Why are they swapping positions here? Perhaps Don Rabico was moving too slowly and had to relinquish that position. Strange scenes here under the safety car. And Nkawako, aka D-Wax, will feel the pressure piling on. D-Wax, who is so accustomed to collecting points on a consistent basis, will go... This will be the second race that D-Wax does not collect points. He did not start in China, and now D-Wax crashes out here in Azerbaijan, in Baku. Zotal had already pitted. Zotal had gone for an aggressive strategy courtesy of that huge contact with Sid's figure of speech. He had opted for the soft tires. Will he now... Well, he's still in the early part of this track, so we'll see whether or not he'll reconsider and just go for hards from now towards the end of this race. So much racing still to go. 20 laps of racing still to go, folks. Man, oh man, oh man. What is going on? Let's give you a rundown of how things look behind the safety car. It's Don Rabico from Mercurial Caesar, from Django. Your top three in the order in which they qualified. The 86er now up to P4. What a day, what a beautiful potential result for the Red Bull driver. Tapiso, currently P5. Mandla, Romeo, is 6th from Tato, aka Loveness, whose hard tires will go longer, presumably, than most of these runners in the top 11. Loveness, the only driver in the top 11 on the... the only driver in the top... Yes, top 11 on the hard compound tires. Bankobi is currently 8th, and considering that moment which necessitated an early pit stop, he will be, well, he'll be chuffed with that. He's now caught up to the rest of the pack, and considering some of the network issues that some of the drivers behind Bankobi have suffered, he will know that he will have a decent chance of a solid points finish over here. Donathan Laka has been a podium finisher already this season, but now has to fight his way up from P9. Next is 10th, which is a very good day, must be said, considering he started all the way from the very back of the pack. Man Ray, the ghost thereof, in 11th. Bangani, Debo Crocodile, is 12th. He's going to look to make very quick work of the Ghost of Man Ray ahead of him. Zotal is 13th. Man, oh man, that was a huge crash between Zotal and Figure of Speech as they were fighting through that final section. Tindo currently 14th and Sige Figure of Speech rounding off this field in P15. Romeo is performing today, so says Billy Hendricks. It's a very, very good day, must be said. 5 places, a net gain of 5 positions for Romeo, makes him the second biggest mover after this man, Mex, who started at the back of the pack. Very good day for them. The 86er having gained 1 episode 2. Alongside with the likes of Ban Kobe and Tato. 4 places for Man Ray, who's now back in the lobby, has a re-established connection. He's just going to look to take control of that Haas once again. Debo Crocodile, P12, gained 2 positions. Look at that, Zotal. Oh man, his heart will absolutely break, losing 9 positions courtesy of that huge moment before we had Enkawako D-Wax's DNF. Tindo, 14th, and Sigefig, 15th. If you've just joined us, folks, so remember to like the stream, please, and we appreciate all of your comments and all of your shares in the top tier of the BrakeAway Racing League. Don Radical, the champion, defending champion, looking to claw his way up towards the top of the standings. Rather, to consolidate his position, Don Radical currently has 41 points as Race Control gives the word that the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. Don Radical, top of the standings, 41 points. Donathan Laka, who's in P9, is second in the driver's standings. Zotal third. Mercurial Caesar is currently 4th in the driver's championship. Smirch Django is 5th in the driver's standings. And Tsepo Temba, who sadly crashed out today, is in 6th spot in the driver's standings. When, oh when, will Don Radical send it? Sadly, Man Ray loses connection to the lobby once again. When will Don Radical send it? Last time out, it was around about now, and similar situation. Smirch Django gave Mercurial Caesar a lot to think about at the previous restart, but he's not close enough this time to make a scrap of it down towards turn 1. The top 3 drivers hang on to those positions. 86er is also clinging on there. He's got a little bit of a buffer to Tapiso, who's running in P5 behind him. They make their way now through the initial sequences of corners, and thankfully we have not seen any more issues. Are there hectic fights? Yes, Zotal and Debo Crocodile went wheel to wheel, but Zotal has overtaken him now, and he's gained 2 positions at the restart as Zotal. Oh no, what's going on? He's dipping back. It's another yellow flag. What is going on? It's a virtual safety car here, folks. Tindo gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. What is going on here, folks? I think it's a virtual safety car. The entire track is under caution, as you can see, but we do not see a full safety car. No, yellow flag glitch, reckons Kaboza. Donathan Laka gets a penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. Man, oh man, some issues with this game, sadly. We usually see these sort of things towards the end of a particular game cycle, as the time penalties are now trickling in for all these drivers for supposedly ignoring the yellow flag. Now, we're back under green flag conditions. Mex has been disconnected from this lobby, sadly. Man Ray has rejoined the lobby. We're back under racing conditions. Everybody is pushing, and it doesn't look like we're going to have too many incidents, I hope, between now and the end of this race. It's 9/10, 8/10 between the race leading Don Radical and their teammate Mercurial Caesar. In the midfield, there was a battle happening. Debo Crocodile hunting down Ban Kobe, one of the closest battles, as Tindo behind him was looking to overtake Mex. But it looked like he was fast approaching, but not necessarily now. Oh, Ban Kobe has a little bit of a moment there on the exit of turn number 2. Not very comfortable is Ban Kobe on those 7-lap old medium compound tires. Debo Crocodile on a newer set of hard tires at this particular point. At the front of the pack, it's a 1.3 second buffer that Don Rabico has managed to eke out to their teammates. So this battle between Debo Crocodile, Bongani, and Ban Kobe is one that we're going to watch very, very, very closely indeed. Sage Figure of Speech is hunting down Tindo behind this pair. We're going to hop over to that battle for P11 as things currently stand. Tindo sadly has a time penalty. On top of that, Zotal has just come into the pits for a brand spanking set of hard tires that he presumably will take towards the end. So at this point of the race, Zotal will definitely hope, at the very least, for another virtual safety car. As things currently stand, we're watching Sage Figure of Speech trying to keep, or Tindo trying to keep Sage Fig off his tail. But try as he might, it's not going to be that simple. Similar type of battle happening between Sage Fig and Tindo, as is the case between Debo Croc and Ban Colby. Or even closer together. We'll hop on board now with Debo Crocodile. That is the Williams of Ban Colby that you can see. Man Ray once again re-establishing connection with the lobby. DRS will be enabled at the start of lap number 10, which the leading pair have already started. Oh, Ban Colby, too much sauce, too much pace for Debo Crocodile, who tries he might, cannot get close enough to affect that overtake. Debo Crocodile, close but no cigar. Here comes one of the Hasses coming out of the pits over there. And Sage Fig also could not overtake Tindo ahead of him. So those are the two interesting battles taking place on this circuit. And there's another scrap happening here between the 86er and Django. As you can see, the field really spreading out as things currently stand. Django, who the 86er is hunting down, already 6.5 seconds behind the leading pair. Cepiso is also within touching distance of the 86er. Oh, Cepiso has a huge moment there, and he will lose a lot of time. There. Oh, Tindo becomes the next driver, the next casualty, bringing out the safety car again. Tindo crashes out in Sector 2, and he's out. Tindo bringing out the third safety car, and Zotal will thank his lucky stars, because having been so far back, Zotal will hope that this will be the window that will prompt the leading pack to finally come into the pits. This is your leading pair, folks. Django having already caught up. Are they going to box opposite one another? No, it's going to be a double stack. Oh, man. And because it's a double stack, look at Mercurial Caesar slowing down, trying to make sure that he slows down the chasing pack behind him. But will it be enough? Will this double stack cost the Mercurial Caesar that P2 spot? And it looks like that might just be the case, folks. It's a set of hard tires for Switch Django, but will it cost Mercurial Caesar that spot behind Don Rabico? Yes, it has! That double stack, he didn't have a choice, maybe, he would have felt, under the safety car. It's a free pit stop, essentially. But now Django is sandwiched in between the two Mercedes competitors. Well. Cicle is saying Don held Mercurial so that he could, or so that he would be able to take advantage of Django being sandwiched in between the two. That is the allegation from Cicle in the comment section. And by the time we flipped over to Mercurial, I saw him slowing down, of course, heavily trying to make sure that there's a little bit of a buffer between himself and the on-rushing Smirch Django. So, in those positions, it is now, after these cars have pitted, It is Ban Kobe in P1 on those 9-lap old mediums. Debo Croc on the hards, P2. Don Rabico is in that P3 spot, having just pitted. Django is now fourth in between the Mercedes. Mercurial Caesar currently in P5. The 86er is sixth from Tepiso. Loveness is currently eighth. Mandla is 9th. Donathon Laka is 10th. I believe the 6-second gap was actually between Mercurial and Django. It was Django who was lagging behind Mercurial, though. And not necessarily a 6-second gap between Don Rabic, between the two Mercedes. If you'd recall, I think we were wondering... I think the 86er was hunting down Django at that point, and we were wondering where that gap came from, where Django fell behind the leading pair. And then when the safety car was called, that's when they went rushing down to the pits. But of course, the drivers can lodge complaints. They can take it up with the stewards. As some of you are mentioning, it's we want to see sporting competition here and no underhanded tactics between the drivers in the top tier. Another safety car, as some of you predicted earlier on. Man Ray, dipping in and out of the lobby, sadly having network issues, is 13th. Sig Figure of Speech is 12th. Sig Fig, currently 13th. Zotal is at the back of the pack, having made a second stop to fit on a set of hard compound tires. But Zotal's pit stops had him so far behind most of the pack, and he's now caught up courtesy of this safety car. Ban Kobe is your new race leader. What can he do now on these aging medium compound tires? Almost at the halfway point of this race. Thankfully, the safety car coming back into the pits. So that's your tire battle situation as things currently stand. Six laps versus 10 laps, hards versus mediums. That is the situation between your leading pair. Ban Kobe has sent it. Man Ray's back in the lobby. It's the rush towards turn 1. Don Ravico attacking Debo Crocodile. But into turn 1 is not close enough. But now on the exit of 1, he goes on the inside, and on the short run before turn 2. Oh no, Ban Kobe had a moment with the wall. And now Don Ravico is up into the race lead. Did they make a little bit of contact? We're not close enough to see that. And it's a 5-way scrap in the run towards turn number 3. Oh, there's an onrushing Red Bull, which overtakes Debo Crocodile. It's the 86er, and Django has been turned. He is in 6s and 7s. He is out of the reckoning, possibly down to P10. Oh no, the Ferrari of Tepiso comes unstuck and makes contact with the wall in the end of Sector 1. What is going on? Why didn't Ban Kobe pit? Asked Kaposa in the comment section. And it is pandemonium at the restart. Don Rabico scrapped with the leading pack after turn number 1. And now finds himself in the lead. But look at that, Mercurial Caesar similarly was wasting no time, was hanging on to Rabico's coattails, and is within a second of his teammates. It's 9/10 of a second, and the virtual safety car has ended, and the Mercedes pair are sending it once again. Django, the biggest loser in that early scrap, now down to P9 at that particular portion of this race. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Mercurial Caesar huffing and puffing, trying to stay in touch with his teammate, but that gap now 1.1 seconds. We will have to catch up to see how he will be able to keep it intact. Van Kobe has been urged by some of you in the comment section to rather come into the pits and not risk another potential DNF. Is this him coming to the pits? That is presumably the case, as the 86er goes straight on and will go unchallenged towards turn number 1. 86er's gap to the leading pair is about 3 seconds. So on those new hard tires, he will fancy his chances over here. Loveness versus Debo Crocodile. Bongani in lap 14. They've just navigated turn number 2, and they're hurtling down towards the 86er. Loveness thinks about it. He darts inside and outside and back towards the inside. Not close enough to go for it in towards turn number 3. Here comes 4. Loveness taking a tighter line. Ties it to the apex as Bongani makes a little bit of contact possibly with the ball. Here comes Loveness going on the outside. It's going to be bold if he does this into this chicane. He's close, but he's going to need to bide his time. Oh, will he? No! Loveness absolutely sends it, and he's overtaken Debo Crocodile before the tricky part of the castle section. It's brilliant stuff by Loveness, leaving nothing to chance and relegating Debo Crocodile down to P5. Thread the needle, almost making contact with the wall there, and he's made it through unscathed through that part of the castle section. Loveness leaving nothing to chance. He is now hunting down the 86er, who is about 2 seconds down the road, is going to have his work cut out. Mex is having a sensational day, having fought his way all the way from the back of the pack. Now has Debo Crocodile in his sight. What can he do in that fight, ostensibly for that P5 spot? Debo Crocodile struggling with perhaps grip at this point. 8-lap-old hard tires versus 3-lap-old tires. Mex is going to fancy his chances in the run towards the line. Goes on the outside as Don Ravico has crossed the line for the fastest time of the day. 1 minute 43.788 after the halfway point of this race. Django is on a fight pack on his own. He's just overtaken Debo Crocodile, and he's now looking to give Mex a lot to think about. Django, of course, will be kicking himself after that incident, which saw him facing absolutely sideways at that particular point. But now, running in P6 is hunting down Mex. What a recovery that would be if he could find his way back into the reckoning. As things stand, it looks like that wing is intact. May have taken other sorts of structural damage, could Django, but it is still intact enough to be running in the running for those possible podium places, but they need to, number 1, catch up with Loveness. And as you can see, it's a potential 4-way fight from Loveness all the way down to Smirch Django. 4-way fight for that third and final podium spot. Behind them, Debo Crocodile has racked up a time penalty, as has Stage Figure of Speech and Donathan Laka at the back of the pack. Now threading the needle through the castle section, as Man Ray laments the fact that he cannot take control of his car, sadly. And in that P11 spot, he might have been in with a chance of potentially finishing in the points. We're on board with Smirch Django at the halfway point of, past the halfway point of this race. We'll feel he will have a very, very good opportunity to do something special here. And look at that battery power. He's been fighting hard to claw his way back into the reckoning. Don Ramico at the front of the pack has eked out a 4.5 second advantage to his teammates, leading the pack, setting fastest laps. And here comes Django, hunting down Mex, down to about 24% worth of battery power. Not close enough to get that move done. Mex is also within a similar margin of the remaining battery power at about 29%. Loveness down to 13, has been draining that battery in that battle to catch up to the back of the 86er. Mex trying to break the slipstream that Django has, but also trying to peek on the inside of Loveness to stress out the Alpha Tauri driver ahead of him. We've lost Tindo, we've lost Igaraco D-Wax, we've lost Tepo Temba. With 10 laps of racing to go in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, here at the Baku Street Circuit, A lot of battles taking place within the midfield, and we are watching closely to see what they can do to claw their way back up the standings. Zotal currently running in P10, the last of the point finishers as things currently stand. But that is the situation as far as the gap from the front all the way to the back is concerned. Almost a full minute from the race leading Don Rabico to Donathan Laka, who is running in P14. This, however, is Zotal, and ahead of him, Sage, figure of speech. They've already got history. We saw what happened earlier on, the event which necessitated both of these drivers. Oh, Zotal comes absolutely unstuck, and perhaps did not trust his car to stop in time to fail to make contact with the back of Sage Fig, but all those gains will now be lost. Zotal would have lost all those gains. He was so close there, close, but no cigar. Quickest driver on track is the race leading Don Rabico, who has set a time in the 1 minute 42.788. Significantly quicker than the chasing pack, as you can see. The next closest being his teammate, who is almost 2 full seconds slower in terms of those fastest laps. Now let's get back to this battle in the midfield. Django, Loveness, Mex, the 86er, four-way fights for the third and final podium spot. Behind them, Mandla still running strong in P7. Django has a little bit of a moment where he went slightly deep there. Caboza in the comment section saying there's no need for Don Rabico to play games as far as trying to slow down his teammate. All he needs to do is just trust his pace. He's got more than enough of that in the bag. And Django is the driver currently having a fight back of sorts of his own within the top 7 drivers. All of the hard runners pretty much pitted at the same time. Pretty much everyone in the top 7 pitted at the same time. Everybody on 6-lap old tires in the top 7. Zotal has had another severe collision with Sage Fig and has racked up a 5-second time penalty as we watch Zotal go on the attack versus Loveness. It is Switch Django versus Loveness, and he's got that overtake done and dusted. But Loveness, being Loveness, will not go down without a fight on the upcoming DRS stretch. After turn 2, we can expect a fight back from the AlphaTauri driver. Will that be the case immediately? Yes. But Django tucks towards the inside, goes defensive, giving Loveness pretty much no room to get away with a cheeky overtake. Oh, Loveness says a slight moment there, had to catch the car on the exit of, I believe that was 5. Bongs says Don Rabico is pretty much running away with it as things currently stand, and at this point he's going completely unchallenged. This is Django versus the 86er ahead of him. And would you look at that? Mex is already up to the podium places. Loveness struggling for grip on the exit of the capsule section. We're going to hop on board with the McLaren driver this time out. Look at the level of comfort of going flat out and eking out the tiniest amount of advantage. We'll have both ERS, the last bit of ERS and DRS. He feints to the outside, into the inside, and elbows the 86er out of that P4 spot. It's been a valiant effort by the Red Bull driver, but will now have to fight back at this particular point. 86er will see that red light flashing, meaning Django is down to about 10% or less of that battery power. Will that embolden the 86er to go for it and push and make Django's life difficult in that fight for the third and final podium spot? Well. Time will tell. We will watch this battle very, very closely. Sige Fig, who had that huge contact with Zotile that earned the Ferrari driver a 5-second penalty, has just come into the pits for a brand new set of soft tires. As Bong said, that Mercedes is overpowered. Oh, look at that 86er going a little bit off his line there and losing ground to Django. Now 1.3 seconds behind as Kaboza notes that the top 5 are gone. Almost a pit stop ahead of Debo Crocodile. Sensational stuff by everybody in the top 5. 86er. Beautiful day he is having. Great potential points finish here. Pity for his teammate Sige Figueroa's speech, who's had some scraps with Zotile. And now it's a three-way fight between Loveness, who had just pitted, Zotile, and Debo Crocodile. But it's advantage Loveness on a fresh set of medium compound tires. So that pit stop distance that Zotile mentioned, Loveness is going to fight it through this tricky part of the final sector here. Flat out, 7th gear. Has about 30% worth of battery power remaining. What about Zotile? Tucks into the slipstream. It's a three-way fight in the run towards turn 1. They both take different lines. Debo Crocodile relents and goes into the pit. And Loveness is close, but no cigar in the run towards turn number 1. But he'll just need to bide his time, knowing that he has the fresher tire compound. He has an advantage as far as grip is concerned. Zotile is on an aging set of hard tires, comparatively speaking. Behind them is Mandla. Here comes Loveness on the inside. It's wheel to wheel, and it's the easiest of overtakes for the AlphaTauri driver. Now up to P6. Daylight between himself and the 86er, currently running in that P5 spot. Man, oh man, oh man. What a beautiful sequence of battles we have seen up until this particular point. Debo Crocodile exits the pits and looks to hunt down to Piso. Debo Crocodile is still within the points. He'll be happy with that, but will not be content with P10, knowing he has 6 laps to A, bridge that 3-second gap to Tapiso, and B, claw his way up this field. But it's going to take, of course, a lot, considering that gap between Tapiso and Mandla is about 21 seconds. So P9 may be the best that he can do, but he does have a fighting chance considering his compound of tire between now and the end of this race. It has been a peerless performance by Don Radico, who has just crossed the line to begin the 21st of a total 26 laps here in Azerbaijan. Mercurial Caesar has just followed suit. The top 2 drivers have been absolutely imperious. 8.6 seconds, however, is the gap between P1 and 2. Max currently 3rd, having such little battery power remaining. And Django will try to preserve his own battery power while knowing that Mex will soon be flashing red, indicating that the battery pack on the back of that Alpine is down to 10% or less. Mex and Tindo, of course, are teammates in this season. So, they're both running solo at this particular point. Mex, courtesy of Tindo's DNF, and Django, courtesy of Tabo T92's, well, DNS did not start. He is AWOL, is Tabo T92. Would have been interesting to see what he could have done were he involved in this race in the top tier of a BrakeAway Racing League. Drabico, Caesar, Mex, Django, your top 4. The 86er has slipped back to almost 3 seconds behind the top 4, but he will hope that he has enough in the bag to hang on to that P5 spot without being threatened by Loveness, who is running in P6. Mandla and Zotile are some of the drivers having a very, very close battle at this particular point, so we'll catch up with them. A closer battle is Bongani and Tapiso. Debo Crocodile now within a second of the Ferrari ahead of him. So we'll bide his time and look to keep it clean all the way down towards the final stretch of track. where he will have advantage of the long DRS stretch and look to take advantage of a potential slipstream here. There's a poll running here. About 90% of you predictably having earlier presumed that Don Radical will win this race. Debo Crocodile now hunting down Tapiso. They're within a tenth of each other. Tapiso using as much battery as he can. Straight line speed is sensational from the Ferrari driver. Debo Crocodile forced to go on the outside. And who will be braver on the brakes, however? No, it is not in question. Oh, Debo Crocodile comes unstuck and Tapiso retakes that position. Debo Crocodile outbraking himself, making contact with the wall. Tapiso now back within that P9 spot. It's sensationally played by the Ferrari driver, who ekes out a little bit of advantage. Look at that battery power, up to about 50%. He's been charging it up, has Tapiso in that Ferrari. Debo Crocodile down to 30%, using up that battery in the attempt to overtake Tapiso ahead of him. But try as he might, he still cannot. Half a second still the gap between these drivers in P9 and 10, and inching closer and closer behind them is Sige, figure of speech, who will be within touching distance soon enough. There comes Sige behind them. Beautifully entertaining race, folks. Another pair of drivers that are very close together are Django and Mex ahead of him. Look at Django's steering wheel. That indicator down towards the bottom is his battery. Is really using up all of that battery, trying to stay within touching distance of Mex ahead of him. Mex is trying to charge up his own battery at this particular point, so that he does not flash. Only Django is flashing in this battle for the third and final podium spot. Debo Crocodile versus Tapiso are running oh so close. Debo Croc is not going to waste any time. He's going to tuck into the inside of Tapiso. Will they go wheel to wheel at this particular point? Yes, they go side by side. But will Tapiso hold on to the inside line? Yes, he will. Debo Crocodile dare not make a similar mistake because Tapiso will not abide any opportunities to be handed back that P8 spot, or that P9 spot. I beg your pardon. Debo Crocodile makes a clean hash of it this time out, and he is hanging on to that P9 spot. Tapiso eventually coming into the pits. He was not happy with those aging tires. Perhaps he's going for that fastest lap at this particular point. Can he get it? He's almost a full lap behind the leaders is Tapiso. As you can see on the track map, 142.788 is the benchmark. Still, the closest to that time is Mercurial Caesar, who has gone 1 minute 44.582 as their fastest laps. We're on board with Sige, figure of speech, has caught up to the back of Debo Crocodile. Of course, these drivers had pitted. Close with no cigar, completely getting that one wrong. Not quite close enough. He's now out of that potential DRS. Back to the battle for the third and final podium spot. Django hunting down Moteo Makwa. And Kwali says Baku is not child's play. You will blink while on the braking point and find yourself making acquaintance with the wall. Billy Hendricks says the trick is to coast before braking after lap 3. What's that conversation about? Otherwise, it's going to feel like you're sliding, says Billy Hendricks in the comments section. We're on board with Django. If you've just joined us, folks, remember, like the stream, comment. We want to hear your thoughts. Don Ravico's fastest time is, so far ahead of the rest of the pack. Some of the drivers who've just come into the pits for brand new softs will have a lot of their work cut out if they are to somehow claim that fastest lap. Donovan Laka back in the pits. Been a nightmare race for him. Rare occasion for Donovan Laka to finish the race and not find himself within the points. Here comes Smirch Jangle. Used up so much of his battery now towards the end of this race. Goes on the inside of Mex and will have the line towards turn number 1. Mex, are you biding your time? Mandla was running in P8 and has crashed out in Sector 3. Mandla is out. Mandla was set to finish in the points for the first time this season, but has crashed out towards the end of this race. Here comes Mex now towards turn 3. It's a very, very good defense by Smirch Jangle. Mandla, or rather Mex, is just going to bide his time, knowing that the person who is suffering the most is the driver ahead of him. So now we have the fourth driver to have crashed out. Mandla, towards the tail end of this race, will be absolutely kicking himself. Had a golden opportunity to claim a decent haul of points to get himself off the mark. Ooh, Mex makes contact with the wall through the castle section there. How much time will that cost him? He loses about 0.3 of a second. Now, 0.8 is the gap between himself and Jango ahead of him. Will that force him to use his battery prematurely? M. Fundo was asking if Mex is using the wheel. If you do know the answer to that, let us know in the comments section. Oh, Mex struggling to keep that car straight on the exit of that left-hander, but that gap still 0.8 of a second. When will he deploy that battery? The answer is now. And now he's flashing. He's going to absolutely send it, but he's going to need to be braver on the brakes. Oh no, Django defends that absolutely perfectly. And now it's honors even in the battle for the final podium place. As both of these drivers scrap to find themselves in the podium. As we hurtle towards the end of proceedings here, what will Mex do? We'll make Django think about it. Now it's going to be about forcing a mistake out of your competitor. The Alpine driver, absolutely sensational. Ever since coming up to Tier 1, has looked nothing short of absolutely comfortable. And Quali says Django can drive. Hats off. Defending for his life is Django. And he knows that it may yet be tickets if Mex does not make a single mistake between now and the end of this race and keeps it inch perfect between now and the end of this race. But as these two battle to conclude this race, a word of appreciation as we dip our hats to Don Rabico, who has absolutely sent it screaming towards a memorable race win, and it's a P1 finish by 16 seconds towards Mercurial Caesar, who will come home in that P2 spot. Here comes Mex now. He's on the attack, but he was not close enough in the run towards the line, and Tapizo has crashed out. He becomes the final driver to crash out of this race, sadly having lasted pretty much the full race, and Mex almost had it towards the line, but Django crosses the line in P3. Mercurial Caesar comes home in that second spot, and the 86er, Mex will come home in P4. The 86er comes home in P5. It's going to be Loveness in that sixth spot, a decent haul of points for him. Zotile will soon pass the scrap heap of drivers that crashed after crossing the finish line. It's been a nightmare day for him, but he'll be grateful to find himself in the points. Will the Ferrari driver Cepiso crashing out at the death? Zotile will come home and claim P7. And on top of that, time penalty that he has yet to serve. Behind him is going to be Bongani, Debo Crocodile, and Sage, figure of speech, behind him by a factor of about 3 seconds, will claim 9th spot. And the 10th and final finish in the points will go to none other than Ban Kobe. Man, oh man, oh man, what a race that was. Some controversy earlier on as far as the pitting was concerned. So we're going to hear Don Rabico's thoughts on that. Almost lost the third place with the handbrake turn, says Inquali in the comment section, remarking on Smirts Django's antics. Django and Mex gave us quite a battle there as we see the pair of Mercedes drivers celebrating there the Lebanese and Indian flag and South African flags there in your top 3 places on the podium. A multinational racing league now is this breakaway, and what an effort there by our top 3 finishers, that being Smirt Django and Don Rabico, and of course Mercurial Caesar finishing there. So that is how it looks at the end of it, and that is also the point allocation. Don Rabico also claiming the fastest lap. But the first driver to join us in the commentary box, none other than Smirts Django. Congratulations! How was that race? Take us through qualifying. A fair few people actually expected you to be in the running for pole position. Take us through your quali and through the race there and the incident that saw you tumbling down the order. Congratulations, Django.
Oh, thank you, Ty. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Please confirm in the chat if you can hear Django loud and clear. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, quali was a bit frustrating because I went out on old mediums for my Q3, old soft rather, for my Q3 run, and when it was time to go on my fresh soft, I got disconnected. So when I came back, there was literally like 10 seconds or 2 seconds left. So I was still P3, and that was fine. Then for the race, I knew what I wanted. And I knew that I don't want to get in any fight, especially here, because it's very easy to get a wing damage here. So I was comfortable with staying behind the 2 gentlemen and, waiting for a chance to either someone get a wing damage or a safety car or whatever towards the end. So that was the strategy going into this race. But then I don't know who spun me. I'll have to check. At some point, somebody spun me, and I was driving with a damaged wing for the rest of the race. So good race and good battle with Max there.
And we see you opted not to change your wing there in that fight back. Could you just take us through exactly what kind of damage did you take? Was it front right, front left?
I think it was front right because they hit me on my left. I was about to take 10-3, I believe, and somebody hit me on my left, and then I hit the barriers to the right. So I decided it wasn't too much of a damage, to be quite honest, but it was yellow. So I was like, let me head down and try to see what I can do. Hence, it was so tough to actually beat Max there, because there was a point where I was like, okay, I get close with ERS, but then when I get closer, the dirty air just throws me off. So I saved for like 2 laps, and then I went for it, and then I managed to pass him.
All right, man. What a fight back that you had over there. And Django, congratulations. Another P1 in your BrakeAway Racing League career in the top tier. Take us through quali, and we also have some interesting questions considering that pit stop and how that gap miraculously shrunk. So what was going on there? First of all, just take us through qualifying, and were you happy with that lap? It was sensational. I believe it was 39.5. Were you happy with that in qualifying?
Oh, you talking to me? I thought you said Django.
Oh, sorry, Don Rebico, sorry.
Yeah, no, I knew I had the pace in Baku. I wasn't worried about the rest of the guys. But basically, my plan was, since what happened last week, I needed to show my teammate, who's the Sergio Perez of the team. Uh, I think I've solidified it today. I think it's very clear. As I said last week, he should just sit back and enjoy the show.
Wow. Okay, now we need to understand what is happening. What games are you playing here? We saw you slow down your teammate at pit entry when the safety car came in. You could be sanctioned for that. A lot of people asking why not just rely on your pace, knowing that you could just race and dominate as you back yourself to do that.
No, no, I don't need to slow him down. It's just the pit lane. I'm going inside the pit, and that pit lane can be tricky, so I just slow down normally. And he's the one who actually slowed down to try to open up the space so that he doesn't get held up. I didn't slow him down. He slowed down. And it's a double stack. Obviously, it's a double stack. He's gonna lose position when he chooses to be my teammate. That was a dumb move from his side to choose to be my teammate because you will get held up under the safety car. It's just normal. If you pit together, you're gonna get held up, and someone else is gonna pass you. The pit is gonna take long. It's a normal thing, but no, nothing to that.
And I just want to ask you about the next one is Qatar, Django. We've never raced there as a,
Also, also,
yes?
also, once again, by the way, I could see it's Sitle in the comments going on and on and on and on, crying about losing to Django and crying about being backstabbed by Django. Every week he's in the comments crying. He should stop crying. He should focus on his pace because if he comes to tier one, I will lap him. He should stop his
Wow.
nonsense and focus on himself.
Seatley, that is the gauntlet laid down to you. I'll tell you what, by the time he gets here, I'm pretty sure both of you will be putting on a hell of a show, including Django. I believe it's always Mercedes that serves up. There's something about Mercedes in recent years that just serves up all of these interesting challenges. Don, I'll start with you. Qatar, we've never raced there. It's new, obviously. It's a new game. It's a new track. I don't know, in your experience of like other lobbies or maybe other leagues, how you find it there, your comfort level compared to Baku, and what you're expecting. Don?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. I thought you were talking to Django.
No, I was talking to you. I'll start with you, and then I'll ask Django the exact same question. Your comfort levels in Qatar, considering it's obviously a new track to this game, and how you're feeling about that track.
Yeah, no, Qatar, I like Qatar. It's a very nice track for me. We will put a show for you guys again at Qatar. So he better come prepared, or otherwise he's gonna cry again.
Django, your comfort levels around Qatar. How much work have you done, be it in friendlies or other lobbies around that track?
Don is very spot on in Qatari. That's gonna be a quite big show, so I think everybody should just tune in and to see one of the biggest shows, probably, if there's no safety cars and if there's no wing damages or anything. Myself and Don are quite comfortable there. I know Mercurial is also quite comfortable there, so it's gonna be a very, very good fight. Hopefully Max will be able to join and Zotail as well.
That would be absolutely sensational. Mex putting on a show and a decent day as well for the 86er. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We will see you next week in Qatar. Thank you, Don Radical, showing his pace once again. Thank you, Smirch Django, for doing the same and clawing your way back up after that incident towards the beginning. Kid K says, the day Mercurial joins commentary at the end of the race, we would absolutely enjoy that, wouldn't we? We should, hopefully he can join us. It's very late where he is currently. It's actually approaching midnight if he is indeed in the UAE. If he is in India, then it is even later than that. Donathan Laka says, do not consume alcoholic beverages and drive if you're going to be in tier one. So that is the reason, allegedly, behind Donathan Laka's poor showing here in Baku today. Cikle says, one day is one day. Kalma, I will silence people. We've already seen what Cikle can do. A 3-time champion in the top tier. And who knows? If something dramatic happens and someone relinquishes their seat in the earlier part of this season, we may yet see a 4-way fight for supremacy between Django, Cikle, Mercurial, Zotile, Tapiso, Man Ray, Mandla, everybody, D-Wax, Loveness, Donathan Laka. It is such a stacked tier 1, of course. Just catching up with the last of your comment section. Thank you, Estelle, for being involved in the comments. Kid K, Billy Hendricks, Donathan Laka, the Prince of South Africa, as well as Tindo, who sadly could not finish this race. And we have who else? The Nucha was here, and Kwali was here, and Kaboza as well. We appreciate you. Please do tune in to our next race in Tier 1, which is taking place in Qatar. That will be Thursday, expected to be 7:30 Central African time, as the battle heats up for the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. Thank you, everybody. As Cikle says, let me cook. We cannot wait to be served a wonderful meal. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Cheers, Ty.